to say one phrase in perfect Spanish because when I was 10, my neighbor and I practiced it repeatedly. We wanted to trick people into thinking I was fluent, and the phrase has stuck with me all these years. I can recite it in my sleep. When I started my position at the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, a group of us created a little coffee club. One day, I was out of my usual creamer and someone let me use their almond milk. I loved it so much, I haven't had my coffee any other way for the last 3 years. In seventh grade, I went to Washington, D.C. on a field trip, and the tour guide was so knowledgeable and fun. He made relevant and interesting historical connections to what we were learning and the world around us. I left that weekend obsessed with the idea of old buildings and generations before us. It was really the beginning of my love for history, and I went on to earn my bachelor's degree in history. I grew up an Angels baseball fan because when I was a kid, my dad taught me that you always root for the home team. The idea of community and loyalty in sports was important to him. I grew up going to these games, and while I'm not an avid fan of any sport, I always support my home team. We are made up of a plethora of experiences. We are mosaics of the people we come across. After people leave your life, what did you learn from them? What do others learn from you? Connectivism identifies the impact people have in shaping our understanding of the world around us. A recent analysis of over 40 papers that discuss connectivism learning theory revealed connectivism refers to the knowledge that emerges within a network from the interaction within a group. This knowledge may emerge spontaneously and continues to evolve as influenced by the networks and communities. Let's, ex- let's explore further some of the principles that define connectivism.
In 2005, while blogging, Dr. George Siemens, professor of psychology, observed the communication processes between bloggers was different than traditional classroom learning. He would go on to label those interactions as connectivism. Connectivism is a learning theory that describes how knowledge flows within our world through digital networks, search engines, online discussions, and social media. Connectivism also highlights the ability of learners to digitally find, process, and share knowledge in dynamic ways.
When considering connectivism and making connections in a digital world, we must understand that digital communities form through mutual interests and sharing of information. Digital communities like Facebook, Instagram, Wikipedia, and LinkedIn exist as platforms for people to share information and create new connections. In understanding how these digital communities work, Andrew Ravencroft's 2011 article entitled Dialogue and Connectivism provides us with psychologist Dr. George Siemens' 8 principles of connectivism. These principles speak to how connections are made within communities and how knowledge grows out of those community connections. Connectivism seeks to promote learning through networking. To successfully build and sustain this learning, connectivism learning theory identifies behaviors aimed at collaboration, which in turn supports learners in constructing knowledge through their own experiences rather than passively consuming information. For instance, Siemens' first principle says learning and knowledge rests in diversity of opinions. Never in human history have we had more opportunities to express our opinions than today via the internet. When posting those opinions through social media platforms, people often will make additional connections to what other people are saying, and those connections lead to further posts and further building of new knowledge. Wikipedia, for example, works in this way. With millions of users adding information all the time, opinions of what is fact or truth are often debated, and the information continues to evolve. Thus, diversity of opinion in a digital platform like Wikipedia builds a community of learners sharing unique knowledge through their digital connections. Further, principles of connectivism also identify the concept that how we learn is more important than what we learn. Many learners will move into a variety of and possibly unrelated fields over the course of their lifetime. To this end, the knowledge learners gain through informal learning via networks is a significant aspect of the learning experiences. It is crucial to appreciate learning as a continual process lasting for a lifetime. Another example of connectivism demonstrating how digital community connections are created can be understood from Siemens' fifth principle. Nurturing and maintaining connections is needed to facilitate continual learning. The internet today makes possible the daily connections that we rely on to communicate and produce work. Whether it is an email exchange, a Google Doc sharing, or a Zoom call, collaborative connections are made that help participants nurture and maintain connections that facilitate continual learning. Let's explore more of how social connections occur.
Connectivism in the classroom, tools, and people. This theory presumes that learning occurs as part of a social network made up of many diverse connections and ties. This network is made possible through various tools of technology, such as digital textbooks, online libraries, social media platforms, and other examples shared here. The key stakeholders include peer engagement, community of inquiry, and other examples that are also shared here. Together, tools and people intersect to support the learning that occurs in digital communities.
At the core of connectivism, collecting knowledge means collecting people. As individuals, we do not have the mental capacity to become an expert in every topic. We are living in an age of information overload, and there are not enough hours in the day to assimilate every bit of knowledge available in an increasingly digital world. To circumvent information overload, individuals must decide what information they need to learn and find ways to do so efficiently. This is where collecting people to construct knowledge and meaning becomes part of the learning process. Our digital networks become pathways to learning dynamically. Individuals gain access to experts and gain knowledge more efficiently. Connectivism connects people with the purpose of sharing knowledge. When we start to consider how to build a community online, connectivism gives us a starting point. Before we conclude our presentation on connectivism, we want to leave you with a few questions to consider. Think about how these ideas apply to the work that you do on a daily basis, and how connectivism could impact your institution's strategic goals and initiatives. First, what are the benefits of connectivism in the online classroom? What are some challenges? Second, how can connectivism be used to build community with students? Last, how can connectivism be used to build a healthy educational community and promote a positive university culture?